Hello, everyone. Here we are, Anna and Robin, and today we are doing the drink called the Lazy Man Flip, and we're talking about how to flip properties with success.
Yes.
So the drink obviously goes with the subject.
I think the drink looks easier than the actual flip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wonder what makes it the lazy man flip.
I don't know. I
What
think the
makes it-
cocktail is going to be the easiest part of the flip.
Yeah, exactly. You might need a lot of those during the flipping project. All right, what are we like? So let's.
Okay, so we're going to start with the cocktail, the Lazy Man Flip. And it's super simple. So it's actually not an overly complex. We've got our shaker full of ice, as always. We have our tawny port.
Yeah.
We're going a little high end on the tawny port. It is 10 years old.
She's a high roller.
Ruby port, not tawny port. But yes, going a little fancy with that. And then we are putting in our apple brandy.
That looks delicious.
So it's funny because with apple brandy, my husband says that when they were kids that they used to drink it all the time straight.
Yeah.
Really? I really gotta obviously.
I'm guessing they made that at home, probably.
Probably. He did live in the bush.
Yeah. Saskatchewan. Yeah. It's more like apple moonshine.
Apple moonshine.
It's like an apple pie.
And then it wants the yolk, not the whole egg in this one.
A yolk, not
the white, which is the interesting part of the cocktail. Because usually you want the egg white.
This requires skill. Yeah, just a skill in it, yeah.
And then now we're going to shake it.
All right. My workout.
Your workout. There you go. Exactly. Okay, here we go.
Let's do it. Yeah.
I'll do extra shaking for you guys.
Oh, the extra shaking. All right. I'll do that my exercise.
All right, and now we have these beautiful coupe glasses.
Yeah, I decided to try them for size, but you know what? Looking at them, I've realized they probably for like one of those, like when you put like a big ice cube with juice and then you pour champagne all over it or something.
Well, that would be nice.
I think they would be perfect for those like Instagrammable cocktails. Yeah. Yeah, your drink like so. I don't do the egg, so my drink is gonna look very different from Robin's, and I'm guessing yours will be more probably like nice, rich, and creamy.
Probably, because that's definitely what the egg yolk's gonna give you the feel of. All right.
Yeah.
Now. Yep. We have our
dried
orange to put on top, and a little bit of nutmeg.
Perfect.
Tiny bit of nutmeg. And there you go. And here is our Lazy Man Flip.
And then you guys can see, you were like really close to the camera. You can, I guess you can see like you're like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, hers is way different.
You can see the difference of the color, although it's iridescent glasses. I'm going to get like mine nutmeg mixed. All right, cheers. Let's try this. Yeah, it's good. Very dessert-like.
I was going to say it's an after-dinner drink.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely an after-dinner drink. Clint will definitely be getting one of these tonight.
Like, I don't know. I mean, it's very delicious. The apple comes through a little.
It does, but the port's still there. The port taste,
is there. I think it doesn't really makes it boozier or stronger.
No.
It's quite smooth. Like yours probably really smooth because of the egg. Mine is just maybe a little bit more of crisp taste. But it's delicious. Like that's all I have to say.
Yeah, 100% it's delicious.
I just don't even know if it like those two things need to be mixed together.
Like they're just good all on their own.
Maybe if you get like a really bad port, because this port you can drink on your own.
This port is beautiful.
Yeah. But yes, it's delicious. It's definitely after dinner, great kind of finishing cocktail, especially if you want to do something different besides just opening a bottle of port and having that and
be a little fancier, shake a do a little cocktail.
Maybe like a little bit more nutmeg. I wonder. It's like bring a little bit more. If you ever find actually a fresh nutmeg, like a nut, and you can grade yourself, I think that will like
100%.
Totally like would be next level. It smells good.
Is it better with a little bit more nutmeg?
I like it. Yeah, definitely.
All
It's a
right.
little bit have a little bit different tone to it.
You know what though? With the port and the nutmeg and the orange, it would probably be a great Christmas drink.
Yeah,
Li-
definitely.
Like it would be
Maybe
very
even use
seasonal.
like a fresh orange peel
Yeah.
instead of the dry, because the fragrance, the oils from orange peel can
Yeah.
also, yeah, yeah, it's kind of cool drink, kind of different, right? Like overcomplicate your port.
That's right. Yeah. Just say if port isn't good enough for you,
So I
there's an
don't, yeah,
option.
so I don't know, like, see, and this is how, like, this is actually a great example of the flip. We like just end up talking about complexity of the drink that had like three ingredients,
Exactly.
and it was when you taste it, it's very complex as a beverage. So I think the flip, it's kind of like, oh, it takes only a couple things to do here to make it pretty, and then ends up in like big projects and things that you were not aware about. So
Now,
yeah,
you've done flips, I've done flips. As a realtor, flipping houses becomes almost a hobby at some point in your career. And I don't know why that is. I think you see so much money that's made in it, and you start knowing all the trades, and you get across the
yeah.
houses that need what I always think is the love. Like I look at a house and I'm like, this house just needs to be loved.
That's right. So it's a great location, and like if you put some money into it, it can serve like to be a great house to somebody else, right? Like give them a
Exactly.
second chance. That's what I kind of always say about those homes, instead of like demo it and you are gone. And I think because like a lot of our clients who do the flips, we basically involve like every stage of the way too, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes for moral support, sometimes they just want to like show off and what they have done, and it's through all the various things. Usually when the walls come down, they're like, come see it, right? And
Or they find things they didn't expect.
yeah, and then yeah, of course your first call and they crying, and so maybe we'll make them this cocktail next time.
There you go.
Yeah, but yes, it is a process. It should not be taken lightly. It's definitely, if it's underestimated, can cost you quite a lot of money. And yeah, so I think the financial preparation is huge.
Yeah.
That's like step number one. Like realize that it's not just cost of materials are gonna cost. Like you have to calculate the purchase of the home, the every legal fee, closing costs, and then you have to do like materials, labor. Maybe you need engineering report or whatever, things like that, right? And then their carrying costs, things like people forget about, like how much is that house gonna cost you on a monthly basis every time that it's on a, like you're not selling it, you're renovating it. It's gonna have insurance costs. They're gonna have some mortgage or loan costs. What else?
You
Utilities, things
yeah,
like that.
and then the other thing you actually have to think about now that they have the 1 year law in taxation is, do you want to hold it for a year and only pay capital gains, or are you going to hold it for less than a year and pay 100% business tax on the flip as well? Because that's also the other thing too. So you have to look at the capital gains, you have to look at the taxation rules. It's not just something that you jump into and think this is going to be easy, because we've seen people do that, and they're usually the ones that either end up with half finished projects or don't see the realizations that they're hoping for in regards to rate of return. So you have to really kind of look at it all the way. But that's actually also how we help people. Like if someone comes to us and says, I want to flip a house, we'll start asking them very key questions. Like I know you'll ask them
Yeah.
about, how handy are you? How much of the work can you do yourself?
Right.
Right? How much knowledge do you have in construction? Because flipping a house is not for the faint of heart. It's not for people who've never done construction. If you think you're going to hire every single trade to do all the work, or a general
Mhm.
contractor, and they're going to do the work and you're going to walk out ahead, the answer is no. It's a
Yeah.
very, very unlikely scenario where you can get 100% of the work done by trades or a general contractor to do it all for you, and
Yeah.
you're still going to make money.
And the point of this as well is when you're calculating and getting your financial stuff ready, is like, what kind of ROI are you looking for? Like, some people is like, hey, if I make 10 grand on the flip, it's great, right? And some people like, I cannot make less than 100,000. And that both could be great business models. It only depends on how much money you have, because obviously bigger project requires bigger budgets, and how much time are you gonna be spending. If you're gonna do a flip in like in a month and you make 10 grand, well, maybe that would be okay. But if you're gonna make that in a 6 months, that's not very profitable, right? So there is always kind of, you have an idea what is your business plan for home flipping. And definitely, is this gonna be a business? Is it gonna, you're gonna try it for the first time? You have done it before, and now you need to talk to your accountant and figure out how much money you're gonna be losing to the government, like, so because that's gonna eat into your profit.
The other thing to think about as well is when you're doing these flips is like certainly you got to plan up front, right? So take that due diligence period when you're doing your financing, financial conditions. If you want to do a home inspection condition, take that time to really run the numbers hardcore and understand that there are things that you're not in control of. You're not in control of if the market's going to go up or down. So you
Yeah.
got to take that into consideration. You're not in control of policy decisions that will be made by the government when it comes to taxation or anything else. You're not in control of if your provincial government is going to change the building codes and those kind of things. So you got to understand, you got to have that contingency fund or contingency
Mhm.
allowance that if all goes to hell, how much room do you have in those contingencies? So I always tell people, like, depending on the project, you should have like a good 10 to 30 grand in contingencies so that
Yeah, I
you
think the
can still
percentage
not.
that they recommend 10 to 15% of the project to
Yeah.
have as a contingency. So if it's 100, yeah, so if it's like $100,000 project, then you will have at least 10 to 15,000.
Yeah.
And like, so from my experience, and I blew into my contingency because of that, when we started removing the walls, the basically the engineering to remove the wall becomes so expensive.
Yeah.
We end up actually having one post anyway, because to move the trusses or put the truss through it to support the house was just like 30 grand extra that we did not, it like was not even in contingency plans.
Yeah.
And sometimes with the basements, you have to move utility, like the whole utility room. That was a great, cool experience. So like, you guys can move all that to a different location. It's worth it when you can make the space so much more usable. Like if you, especially if you're doing a suite downstairs, to move all that. But again, that's a heavy price tag. And if you were not aware of it or thought you can do without it, but then you end up have to do it, maybe by City of Calgary regulations, or things change. Like that's something, if you didn't plan for it, that's where the contingency will come to, right?
Well, and we had one client who bought a house, it was a bungalow, and usually in bungalows there is no structural walls in the middle of the house. It's usually just all structure on the
Yeah,
outside.
yeah,
But because of
exactly.
the age of the home, because again, construction styles have changed over the years, this house was built in the 50s and the 60s, and when he started pulling everything apart to start doing the renovation, thinking he could remove walls, he ended up finding out that all the walls were structural.
Yeah,
Every wall inside the house was structural.
that's
So keep that in mind that in
whatever I
order.
went through, you went like 4 times or worse.
Exactly. So you have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Backup plans on backup plans on backup plans, and look at the age of the house and look at the construction of the house and understand that there may be asbestos. There may be,
Yeah,
you
that's a
know,
good point. And asbestos still there's quite a lot of it in the older homes. And it's totally fine if it's not touched, because like not all asbestos in like in insulation of the attic. Sometimes it's in old linoleum.
yeah.
Sometimes it's in old drywall they used to use, or the tape glue they used to use. And it's totally safe until it gets cut into.
And sometimes
Yeah.
it's in the walls and they use it to texture the walls.
That's right. Texture in the walls,
Oh,
another
and the
thing.
ceilings.
Yes.
In the popcorn stipple in the ceiling. Like you'd be amazed as to where they stuck asbestos in the old days.
Yeah. I know.
So
So that could be like if you're not aware, like that's also a huge price ticket for sure.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
then also too is when you're looking at your comparables for flipping houses, make sure you look at those fine details to really estimate what the sale price of your property is. A lot of times we've seen people when they're flipping a house, they'll go and they'll look at a house that has all new windows,
Yeah.
all new roof, all new furnace, and they'll think that they can flip a house for the same amount without replacing the furnace, without replacing the roof, without replacing the windows. Those are huge budget items, and the
Yeah.
reason that those people maybe got that huge dollar for their flip was because they replaced all that. So if you're not replacing that or they're
Yeah.
not newer, do not think or expect that you're going to get the same dollar value, because those are those fine details that you really have to look at. Did they use quartz or did they use laminate? Did they replace the windows? What other sales incentives did they give
Mhm.
when selling the house?
Yeah, and one thing I'll mention because I see this a lot, don't ignore outside.
Yeah,
It's not like, you know what, if the outside looks like a dumpster and the house looks like $1 million,
agreed.
every buyer who comes already to pay for renovated house at top dollar doesn't want to buy that they have to, deal with the dumpster in the front or in the back. So this is something definitely has to go in the
Yep.
budget. It's often when like what's the process when you think about it later? Overthought, oversee,
Hindsight.
high. No, when you don't think about it, then you're like, oh, I should have budgeted for that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, you
oversight.
oversight.
And now you're out of money and probably out of time, and who knows, maybe out of weather.
Yep.
Yeah, and you cannot deal with it, and unfortunately, it hurts your sale value.
Also, too, is one other thing I've seen in some flips, which I actually think is super cool, is when they've got especially bungalows and the stairs are in the middle of the bungalow. I've seen people flip a house super simply by just moving the stairs to a more logical spot and
Mhm.
opening up the space. So
And it's
it's a,
not as hard as you
yeah,
think. You're like, well, I mean, depends on the house,
yeah,
but yeah, with
but moving
engineering,
stairs,
yeah.
yeah, moving stairs, you'd be surprised the significant difference that that can make in a house. And it can take a house from, let's say, a $600,000 house to an $800,000 house just by moving those stairs. So don't
Yeah.
don't overestimate how much or underestimate how much things are. Get actual cost. So if you want to move the
Mhm.
stairs, go get a quote before you make that decision, whether it
Yeah.
is or isn't a good decision.
Actually, like, to say, because I actually, that's how I worked, and I found that it saved me a lot of money. Even though as a realtor, I've seen a lot of homes, I have like, seen the homes renovated. I know how the floor plans work. Work with the designer.
Yeah,
Like, honestly, they not as much of the cost, especially for residential, not as much of the cost. They will save you tons of time and actually money on mistakes that you possibly can make, and they will maximize like the space use. And because sometimes you're like, I want to create this, but I don't know how, and you say, well, why don't you put a wall here? And that's where the fridge goes. They're like, oh my god, I love it. So, and a lot of them, that's what they do. That's what they do for a living. So invest into a good designer, and sometimes they have a great hookups for kitchen cabinets and flooring and stuff that they can pass the discounts to you. They actually end up paying for themselves.
absolutely.
All
But
right. Well, that's kind of dirty,
flipping and yeah,
lazy flip on success of your financial success of flipping homes. Price tag.
sure, price tag.
Okay.
So if you like and
April
share, share.
30th today.
Last day.
Just like this, like we did not make it into pulling who is going to be the winner, because the true May Wednesday is going to be next week.
Yeah.
So we're going to be picking a winner for this amazing set for coupe glasses, I guess.
That are beautiful,
Yeah.
crystal cut, very, very nice.
Yeah, they're very kind of like modern and chic looking and manly. Actually, I have to say, if the man has to hold a coupe glass, this is a good one to hold.
There you go.
And so how you can enter is basically every time you see Tipsy Realtor show on any social media platform, obviously Facebook Live, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. You guys like, share, tag your friends or family, even if you just like the cocktail. Maybe you just like us,
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Every time we see your name being entered for throughout the month of April, your name goes into the draw, and that's how you win.
And we'll be pulling the winner
Wednesday.
next Wednesday.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
What are we doing next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday, we're talking about the cease and desist cocktail. So if you're a
It's gonna be
lawyer,
a stiff one.
I know. If you're a lawyer, this is like the cocktail for you, cease and desist. And then we're actually going to talk about secondary suites and how to legalize them. Now, we've done a little kind of seminar online for this already, but this is going to be, quick and dirty with a
We should
cocktail.
have Michelle on the show.
I was planning on bringing Michelle on the show.
If you guys, like, I know Michelle being substituting a little bit more here and there on the show. We slowly grooming her into our third Tipsy Realtor.
That's right.
So, yeah, but she is our girl to go for legal and illegal suites. And that's her background in permits and developments.
Yeah. Absolutely. She's it's called a something technologist. Architectural technologist. That's what she does. So that's her other kind of thing she has on the side. So she can draw up plans for you. She can help you get permits. She's done it for a lot of her clients already. So it's a great tool to have and resource. And she definitely
you're a great asset to this team.
You are a great asset.
Yes.
So, but absolutely bring her on and let her talk about how to legalize suites. Plus, she's already done one. She actually built her own legal suite in her own property. Yeah. So,
and she applied for that 10 grand from the government after
and just got approved.
So it's amazing.
Yeah. All right. So, but most of all, most importantly, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, your friends, your family, your coworkers, anybody you know, even people you don't know, if you're sitting in a coffee shop and you hear people talking about real estate, refer them to us. Myself, Adam, Michelle, we're all here to help you out. We want to make sure you make the right decision and that we can help you make a good real estate future.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week.